Now, a helpline in Devon says it's seen a record surge in reports of intimate images being shared online without consent, sometimes referred to as revenge porn.
The charity's calling for a change in the law so that it's treated in the same way as child sexual abuse material. Bob Cruz reports.
This film was made by a group of young people from Devon and Cornwall with personal experience of image-based sexual abuse, the sharing or posting of intimate pictures online. With the help of a local charity, they worked for a year on making a campaign to help people, particularly boys, understand the impact of this kind of abuse, how it can make victims feel and, crucially, how long-lasting the effects can be.
Young men often assume that if someone shared their image, they'd feel embarrassed, and they assume that if they share a young woman's image, the young woman will be embarrassed. But actually, the research shows that for young women, this is a life-changing experience that makes them feel frightened, permanently changed by this experience. And it not only has ramifications in that moment, their day-to-day experience of being at school or in their community and having to deal with it there, but because sometimes this is put on the internet, it comes back as they're doing education applications, as they're applying for a job. So it really goes on and on in terms of that impact. And there's also a massive mental health impact as well. It's very traumatic to have this done, and it's very difficult to get rid of that trauma and distress once it's become part of your life.
10 years ago, a helpline was set up in Devon, the only one of its kind, to support adults throughout the UK affected by the sharing of intimate images without their consent. The revenge porn helpline started with just one part-time member of staff. Now there are 6 or 7 taking calls every day as intimate image abuse has become more widespread.
It's absolutely true that the numbers are rising year on year, not just number of cases, but the number of images that we're seeing and the number of platforms that they're being shared on. I think it's really difficult to tell whether that means more of it is happening. I suspect that is the case, but I think we're also finding out what a long-standing problem this has been, and we have people coming forward who this has happened to some years ago, but they just weren't aware that it was a criminal offence and that there was help available.
The latest figures show more than 22,000 reports were made in the past year, a sharp increase of nearly 21%, the biggest annual rise ever recorded by the helpline. Tracking down and removing content is a large part of what they do, and to date 387,000 images have been removed, a success rate of almost 91%. The call handlers also help to signpost victims to the police and other support that's available to them at what can be an extremely traumatic time.
A lot of people really are blaming themselves in that moment that they've done something wrong, so we really try and reassure people that, they're not in the wrong in this situation, they've not done anything wrong. It's the person that's obviously sharing their content without their consent that's in the wrong, so sometimes just hearing that is really reassuring for people.
The helpline is calling for urgent legal reforms to address this growing issue, saying it should be classified and treated with the same urgency as child sexual abuse material. They also want the police to get enhanced training to better support the victims and understand the profound impact of this form of abuse. Bob Cruz, ITV News.